Good morning, and thank you for joining us for the 21st season of the Jewish Film Festival of Fairfield County. My name is Nancy Schiffman, and I'm the Director of Arts and Culture at the Stanford Jewish Community Center. The Jewish Film Festival of Fairfield County has a 21-year history of bringing current award-winning films to the Fairfield and Westchester County communities, and we are thrilled to be following a hybrid model again this year, so that folks who are comfortable can join us for in-person screenings to gather together as a community. And for those who prefer to watch in the comfort of their own home, they can also enjoy our award-winning films. In fact, being virtual means people from anywhere can view our festival films. So if you know of anyone who might be interested, please direct them to our website, stanfordjcc.org. We have more fabulous films in the weeks to come, and we hope you join us. I'd like to thank all of our sponsors, both individuals and organizations, whose generosity makes this festival possible. Although we're not at the State or Garden Cinemas any longer, we'd like to thank the Friedman family and Garden Homes Management for their continued support and dedication to our Jewish Film Festival, Fairfield County, since its inception. A special thank you to AJC Westchester Fairfield for their sponsorship of our festival. This week's film, Yerusalem, The Incredible Story of Ethiopian Jewry, is in partnership with the Jewish Federation of Greater Fairfield County and has been co-sponsored by Congregation Agudas Shalom, the Stanford chapter of Hadassah, Young Israel, and the JCC Sahal Shalom program. We thank them all for their support. We'd also like to thank our festival co-chairs, Jennifer Kaufman, Debbie Lee, and Lisa Popper, along with our tremendously dedicated festival committee members who work endlessly year-round screening hundreds of films and are tasked to selecting the very best. And that's what we have today. It's a true honor to have with us Levi Zini, director of the film Yerusalem, The Incredible Story of Ethiopian Jewry. When the film committee previewed this triumphant 2021 Israeli film, it was a clear-cut decision to include it in our festival. Levi Zini is a leading documentary filmmaker in Israel with over 40 years of experience creating independent films and television documentaries in a variety of genres, including art films, docu-activism, and current affair exposés. In 2009 through 2013, Zini served as Chief Commissioner of Israel's premier documentary channel, Channel 8. Zini is a recipient of a variety of awards from local and international festivals. He was awarded Israel's Minister of Education Award for documentary filmmaking in 1999 and 2012. Zini is a board member of the Israeli Documentary Forum, a lecturer, and a judge for film funds and festivals. Zini is the founder and art director of Doc Films Production, housed in Tel Aviv. It's my pleasure to welcome Levi Zini. Thank you so much for joining us, Levi. What an honor. To lead us in a discussion, wonderful. To lead us in the discussion of Levi's film, we welcome Carin Savel, the new CEO of the Jewish Federation of Greater Fairfield County. They've been a longtime partner and supporter of the Jewish Film Festival, for which we are deeply, deeply grateful. So what a thrill really to have both of you with us today. Thank you so much for clearing your schedule, all from Tel Aviv and from Fairfield. So we are just thrilled. Levi, we can't wait to hear more about your film. It was truly received well by the audience, a lot of great feedback. And I know that we have lots of questions and would love to hear as much as we can about the making of the film and what drew you to this story. So with that, I am going to turn the floor over to you, Carin, and thank you so much, both of you.
Thank you, Nancy, and welcome to everyone. I wanted to give you a reminder up front that should you have questions for Levi during the presentation, please don't hesitate to put them in the chat box and we will try to get to them. Levi, it is a pleasure to meet you and I'm delighted to be with you today. So my very first question, Jerusalem, that's not a real place, is it?
For the Ethiopian, it's let's say, it's a dream place. I mean, it's Jerusalem, it's the holy town, the holy land of the Jews. They call it Jerusalem, not Jerusalem, Jerusalem. and they dreamed to go back to Jerusalem approximately 2,500 years. I mean, they was looking and waiting and praying for the days that they will come back to the holy city, the holy land. And they was sure that in the Holy Land, there is no nothing, there is no bad things. I mean, it's the place of God. So most of them, when they arrived to Israel at last, and they saw cars passing in Shabbat in the streets, and that Shabbat is not as they knew about Shabbat, they were shocked. It took them a lot of time to understand what is this holy land, what became from the holy land that they dreamed of.
It's a very powerful film, and it's both difficult and uplifting at the same time. Why did you make the film? What were you looking to do?
We are a country of immigrants and son of immigrants, all of us, as well as me. My father arrived to Israel in the 50s from Morocco. So the problem, how you build a immigrant society, it's a question that are quite, I'm thinking, doing films about it because it interested me personally and the Israeli society. When I'm looking on the Israeli society, the Ethiopian arrived to Israel at the 80s and the 90s, and after them arrives the Russian from the Soviet, the countries of the Soviet Union that fell down. And there is in Israel, there is a problem, as I see it, between Zionism, which is a Western ideology, that between the religious feeling of I'll look for the English word for it, Kmiha LeZion, hearing for Zion, or dreaming of Zion, which is a religious feeling. The Ethiopian didn't arrive to Israel because of Zionism, exactly as most of the Jews that arrived from Muslim countries, what we call in Israel Mizrahim. They arrived mostly because they had it was a religious feeling, and the clash between the Zionism as and Western ideology and the religious feeling is a clash that and conflict that we are still having it today, and it's very interesting from my point of view. And then I started to learn about the Ethiopian Jews, and they come more and more things. First of all, if we will go to our time, I mean, the contact with the Jews in the diaspora with the Ethiopian started in the first in the 19th century. I think it was 1904 when a guy, a Polish guy, in the name of Jack Feitlovich, arrived to Ethiopia and met the case, the leaders of the community, and and he tells them, I'm a Jew. He was a white Jew. And they said, hey, you're not. We are usually, there is a lot of, how they call them, missionaries, Christian people that want us to leave the Judaism, that are telling us that they are Jews and so on. So they didn't believe him. And he was the one that started the connection between the Ethiopian Jews and the Jews in the diaspora at that time. And he fought for that. And then, unfortunately, when Israel established in 1948, they called every Jew to come to the Medinat HaYehudim, the Jewish state. And they didn't want the Ethiopian Jews because their practice was different. It was a biblical practice. Before the halakha was written, before was I'm looking for English words. Beit Rishon, Beit Sheni, the first temple. I mean, they left Israel after the destroying the first temple. And the Judaism as we know it today was established after the second temple was destroyed. Halacha, Gemara, and so on. And they didn't know it. And they kept Judaism like it was written in the Bible. So in Israel, they thought and they acted like they are not a Jew. They didn't want them. And what is amazing about this community, that in a way they forced themselves on Israel. They fought for that. And they are all in Israel, most of them.
Levi, there's a lot of emphasis on the film, disturbing emphasis on who is or what is a Jew. And you even quote Ben Gurion as saying a Jew without religion is still a Jew. How did the making of this film affect your own Jewishness?
Oh, it's a big question. I'll tell you what bothers me. At the moment in Israel, the Orthodox Judaism is controlling the way we are looking at Judaism. I think it's awful. I mean, they don't accept reforms or conservative and so on. And till now, by the way, the Haredim, I know it's you understand who is the Haredim? The most Orthodox don't accept the Ethiopian Jews. And while all at the moment the Orthodox are controlling, and I think it's an awful thing for the Judaism all around. What the Ethiopian did, they fought against it. I mean, they want them to circumstance Brit Milah. I don't know. I lost the English word, and they didn't want it. They demonstrated against it, and they fought against it. We should notice that they arrived from a dictator country. where is you can't demonstrate against the government. It's not allowed. But when they arrived to Israel in September 1985, after the big Moses operation, they arrived to Israel and they get out from their houses and they sit for more than 30 days in front of the Rabbanut Rashit. Again, I can't remember the English names of it. As a demonstrated against that they want them to circumstate, and they won. I mean, it was a fight all the time. This community fought to find her place in the Israeli society from the very beginning. And I must say, it's a very interesting and a good story for a film storyteller. So I jumped on the occasion to make this film. And it was interesting, I must say. And because the question is how they, what really fascinates me is how on earth this little community succeeded in keeping the uniqueness in a place. It's Ethiopian Christianity. Ethiopian Christianity is very close to Judaism. They are very, very close. And more than that, the Ethiopian, they think they are Bnei Israel, son of Israel, because they are started from Shlomo HaMelech, King Solomon, and Queen Shiva. So they believe in that, and they see themselves as son of Israel. And in that environment, the Ethiopian Jew kept the uniqueness for more than 2,000 years. It's amazing. I mean, it's a phenomenon.
There's a piece in the film, this notion of Ethiopian selection by the Jewish Agency. I found that chilling myself. How is the issue of wanting Ethiopians to convert to Judaism handled today? Any different?
Oh, it's a real. I think it's a human question, because in 1991 in Solomon operation, when there was what they called the Jew Book. In 1976, there was an Englishman, I can't, Gershon something, I lost his name, that started to count the Jews in Ethiopia. I'm not sure he arrived to every place, but he wrote a book. There is a book that he wrote every Jew in Ethiopia that he came to. It was 28,000 Jews at that moment in 1976. And with this book, in 1991, they checked every Jew that arrived if he is written in the book. And if he was written in the book, okay, you can go on the plane and go to Israel. If you are not, you are going to stay here. So it was I just said it was a 36 hours of planes that are taking all the 50,000 Jews from Addis Ababa to Israel. It was a great operation with the help of the American and with the help of the North American activists. We should remember that as well. And as they left there, a lot of people from what they call Falashmura, that wasn't treated in the book in Addis Ababa. Afterwards, after all those families arrived to Israel, there was camps that Falashmua mean Jews that convert to Christianity during the generation that wants to come back to Judaism. And the problem is that it's a family separated, is that when they started to not to bring Falashmura. I mean, there is time that the mother or two children are here in Israel, and the father and other parts of our family as they are in Ethiopia. So I think at the moment is a human rights question, and I think Israel should do to back together again those families. And we are doing, Israel did it slowly from time to time, and there is a lot of Falashmura people still in places in Ethiopia. Not in Addis, I think most of the camp are near in the Gondar area. But it's a human. It's not like gathering all the Jews together. Now it's a human question, human rights question, in my opinion.
You know, all through the movie, I'm struck by the incredible love the Ethiopians have for Israel, even the ones that have never been to Israel. But as the Ethiopians continue to integrate to Israel, are they concerned about assimilation, about fitting in, you know, or do they work to retain their own culture and traditions? And is it even important to do that?
Again, let's go for sons of immigrants, sons or daughters of immigrants. Usually at the first moment, you are trying to be part of the new societies that you came to. So and most of the first generation was a kind of a bridge between the father and mother, the parents, to the Israeli society. And again, they usually get feel shame at the beginning, and so on. And there was another problem. Somebody in Israel decided that all the young generation of Ethiopian should go to a boarding school. Boarding school that was by the Tzionut Datit, religious boarding schools. So they left their houses, they left their parents, and was together in a boarding school, which educated them in the Orthodox way of Judaism. So that's the third generation, that's what they that's what their experience. And it took time they take quite a time, and I assume because the Israeli society didn't accept them, didn't hug them, let's say. So now there is a lot of young generation that seeking for the roots. They are trying to, they are making, they are singing, dancing, learning about the roots to understand the roots. I'll say something more about how Israel treats this amazing aliyah, amazing community. In our story, in the Israeli narrative, those people from Africa, and I say the both not politically correct, those black people from Africa, we, the Israelis, the nice people, the nice Israelis, the brave Israelis, went to Africa and just took them by hands from the trees and brought them to Israel, and they should say to thank you, thank you, thank you all the time. But it's a false narrative. It's not correct. They pushed themselves, they walked from Ethiopia to Sudan. They died in this way. They died in Sudan. They suffer in Sudan. And they pushed all the time to that Israel will open her gate for them. And yes, there was some very great, brave operation by the Mossad, but let's remember, there was two big ones. Moses operation, which was led, very amazing by George Bush, the father. He was a vice president at that time, and he arranged an agreement with Numeri in Sudan. So it was actually an American operation with the help of Israelis, no doubt, and with the help, of course, of the Ethiopian Jews. And if we go to Solomon operation again, it was an amazing operation, no doubt, but it was made possible with the help of American senators that was helping to keep the civil war at that moment not fighting enough, in not fighting position, and with the money of North American Jews. We should remember it, and we are not remember it. And I thought it's something that I must change. I mean, you can't change by things, but let's talk about it. For that's what
this is still going on today. I'm not sure you realize that Jewish federations are banding together to fund, to fly Olim from Ethiopia to America. They just did another plane load a couple of months ago. So it's still ongoing. But what is the situation now, if you know, in Ethiopia to get them back to Israel or to Israel?
Ethiopia at the moment in a very bad condition in the civil war, and there is no radar. How to say it? It's civil war and very bad condition at the moment. It's quite a dangerous place to go to, mostly in the north. Israel and Ethiopia has relationship. We have a ambassador over there, and they have ambassador here. But you know, in the 60s, till 73, actually Israel, the young Israel, was building Ethiopia. Israeli people and Israeli companies built roads, the Ethiopian University, and there was a lot of Israelis over there, and we helped them to build the army in the time of the Caesar, Haile Selassie, and it was broken a bit before Yom Kippur War, that Ethiopia canceled the relationship with Israel, and then Ethiopia again went to have changed. There was a kind of a revolution, a Marxist revolution, and the Haile Selassie was killed, and there was another a kind of dictatorship. Not kind, it was a dictatorship and civil war and so on for a long time. At the moment, what they did, which is amazing from my point of view, they built I'm looking for the words in English. On the Nile, they put that the power of the water will go for their electricity, not for the Egypt and Sudan electricity. So Egypt and Sudan are very angry about the Ethiopian, that still, I don't know how to call it, how to say it correctly, but now they have a lot of electric power because of what they did with the Nile. So they had a few years of very unique country, and then again they have the problem with the Eritrean in the north and the Tigrian in the north, and they are fighting over there. So nobody give a damn about those Jews. Let's admit it.
That is very sad to hear. Something else you talked about in the film was the concept of identifying someone as a Black Jew or a white Jew. Did you discover that there was racism in Israel when Black Jews arrived?
It's quite, are we racist in the Israeli society? Is it racist? I mean, sadly, I said yes. It was hard to most of the people in Israel to accept the Black Jews. And, lately I produced a film that made two friends of mine, Ethiopian Jews, young Ethiopian Jews, about three sisters. Those three sisters lost, there are different families, but every young woman lost a brother because of a police brutality. I mean, those three sisters lost the brothers, young brothers, because of a police brutality, and the Ethiopian youngest in Israel feel that while they are walking in the street, a policeman will treat them differently from any other Israelis that will walk on the street. They will stop them, they will be rude to them, and there was, and it's gonna get out again because the last one that was killed by police brutality, his name is Solomon Taka. in Kiryat Ata, in the north. And there was an argument between them. He shoot down, and the bullet hit Solomon Taka, a 19-year-old guy, Ethiopian guy, and he was dead. He dead. And there is a trial that since then charging the policeman that he killed a young guy, and till the psak din. Psak din. I mean, the judge will come with what they decide. It will be in a month or two, and most of the Ethiopians are sure that he will go out not guilty. And that's going to make the people again very, very, very angry about how police treat them. And I might say in the film that we did, those women said, one of them has both of them, two of them have a new generation. And they said, we don't want son. We fight. It's dangerous to raise a baby boy, Ethiopian baby boy in Israel. I mean, he's going to suffer from this racism. So they are fighting for it.
And this is still today. This is going on.
Of course, yeah. I mean, again, lately, because we are most of the time are busy with elections, so it was a bit less. But yeah, it was in 2019, this summer of 2019.
I want to take a minute to remind our listeners, if you have a question for Levi, to post it in the chat box, and we'll try to make sure that your questions are asked. Levi, you have a lot of inside information when you made this film. How did you get people to talk to you?
I worked with, I was working with a great Ethiopian, very, very talented people that helped me a lot to get to the right people and to find and we made a really deep research, and most of the people are were willing to speak. Most of them. It wasn't hard to get them. Most of them. There was few that didn't want, but most of the people was willing to speak. They want to tell the story, Ethiopian and Israelis as well. They want, most of them are Israelis, I mean Ethiopian and Mossad people. And it was a great era for all the people that was part of it in the Ethiopian Exodus. It was a great era for them, for everybody. Even the sufferer, even they fought for it. It was a great era.
Did any of the people that you spoke to remain with you after the film, that you still think about them? You still care about them? Someone special?
I mean, it's one of them, Sharon Shalom, Dr. Rav Sharon Shalom, which is one of the heroes of the film, is a good friend. We met while making the film, and since then we are a good friend. And I'm very good friend of Danny Limo as well. And mostly, I mean, I kept contact with everybody, most of them, no, not everybody, most of the people of the film. And by the way, the narrator of the film, which is a politician, she's in the Tel Aviv municipality. He's a good friend. She is a good friend. Again, we met over there. And I'm still making films about the community. I mean, at the moment, I'm making a film about Baruch Tagenia, which was one of the heroes of this Ethiopian exodus. And I produced the film about those sisters in blood, sisters in blood. And my partner is one that I met making the film. Yeah, it's a. I tell you something. The community, the film I made first of all for the broadcast, Israeli broadcaster, the public broadcaster. I made a series, five episodes series about Jerusalem, about the community. And it kind of is a textbook of mostly Ethiopian, young generation, Ethiopian young generation. I mean, as they told me, they have learned about their culture, their tradition, and about their fathers and mothers from this film. Because till then, most of the film, there wasn't a lot, but from time to time they did, was about how brave the Mossad people, the Mossad fighter was, bringing the Ethiopian to Israel. That's the most point of view about this Ethiopian exodus. And there was an American film in Netflix about Arus, about the village and the Mossad people. Mostly, that story was told from the eyes of the Mossad fighters. So here it came with, okay, there is, I'm not, they did, they share, no doubt, but they are not alone over there. And we should remember that the Ethiopian community, Jewish community, pushed herself to a place that actually didn't want them. It's a pity, but that's the truth.
How many Ethiopians remain in Ethiopia?
How many?
How many Ethiopian Jews remain in Ethiopia?
It's again, I don't know exactly. I think about 8,000. I'm not sure. But what's going on? Something that I don't like. There is a camp over there that Ethiopian could come, and they, I don't know, is it correct to say convert them to Judaism?
Yes.
So there is again from the Orthodox, a rabbi called Waldman. He's the main force over there, and they are in those places. They convert them to Judaism, Orthodox Judaism. So I don't know exactly what's the number. Sometimes say 6,000, sometimes 8, sometimes 10. And again, I feel it's not a question of Jews or not Jews. It's a question of unite families. We should unite families. We can't separate them, and we should do it whatever it's needed.
You know, Livy, this film doesn't really have a happy ending, but is there a happy ending?
Of course, the Israeli culture now enrich. I mean, getting into inside this melting pot. One more color, one more angle. It's great. They are part. The young generation of the Ethiopian are part of the building of the Israeli culture at the moment, and they are doing great job in music, in dancing, in art, in and I say something which I feel sorry, they didn't succeed to put their to bring the modest to the religious aspect of the Jews. That's something that they didn't succeed to enter to put into the Israeli melting pot of that are which we are, and I wish one of a little from the Buddhists, from the believe will be part of our society, or our relationship between everybody in this melting pot that Israel is. But in the culture, no doubt they are in. They are in, and they enrich the Israeli culture, no doubt.
We have a question coming in. Has Israeli adopted any Ethiopian customs?
Not really, not really. I mean, Israel, there is a sigd. It's a holiday or gathering that the Ethiopian Jews celebrate 50 days after Yom Kippur. I mean, according to a sentence in the Bible, in Ezra and Nehemiah's books, and they celebrate it in a mountain in Ethiopia, and then it was very important for the community to keep them in contact, because they lived in a villages near Gondar, for example, and they were not connecting during all the year. So once in a year, everybody gathered, and actually it was a kind of a place to find your wife or your groom, because in Ethiopia, the tradition is that you can't get married 7 generations backwards to one of your family. 7 generations. So you can't marry somebody in your village. So you need to find somewhere else. So it was a religious ceremony and a way, and the kind of find your match in such a place, which is one of the things that was helping the community to keep the uniqueness all those hundreds and thousands of years. It's one of the tradition that kept them. So now in Israel, Israel adopted this ceremony, and in the 23rd of November this year, it's going to be celebrated in Jerusalem. But you know, it's nice, okay, but I think it's because Israel has a bad conscience, so they okay, let's do it. But I'm going to be there.
Huh. And the Ethiopian Jews that are living in Israel, have they become a part of the fabric of Israel? They're taking on Israeli customs, or are they maintaining their closeness as a group with their own customs?
They are part of the Israelis. Again, the young generation, part of them are involved in any part of the Israeli society. There is, again, if in prison, there is more in numbers, a lot of Ethiopians, youngest. Not in more than they're much more than they are in the society. And there is, of course, as usual, there is here and then. But I think it's getting better and better and better. And it's because of the young generation is pushing himself. They want to be part. And they are not intend to give up.
So that's the happy ending.
Oh, don't jump to at the end. It's a process. Let's say it's in a process.
So there's, I guess, one thing that I would like to ask and sort of leave the audience with this. What is it that you want us to take away from this film? What's the most important thing you want us as the audience to learn from this film?
It's a problem. I tell you what. First of all, what was important for me is that it was three forces gathered to make it possible, to make this Ethiopian exodus possible. I mean, the Jewishness, the harmony of the Jewish from all parts of them. I mean, the community, Ethiopian community, Israel, and the Jewish in the diaspora forced together and make it happen. And I think when all those forces working together, it's they can make good. But you know, again, but I mean, we may not say it because the Goyim can think that it's again the Jewish are trying to control the world. But there was something very great about it. And for the Israelis, I think we have to fight against the dominate of the Orthodox Jews in Israel. I mean, what's happening at the moment, Israel is pushing out every Jew that is not Orthodox. And in my opinion, hey, don't do it. Don't do it. Stop it.
Thank you.
Immediately.
This has been a delightful conversation, and I so appreciate you being here. And I'm going to turn this program back over to Nancy.
Wow, there's so many more questions I think that I could talk all day about. This was a very powerful film, Levy. It was
Thank
rich
you.
with so much detail and I was so glad to hear that, that you've done other films after this because I felt like there was a sequel that was needed to bring us up to speed about today's assimilation and integration, which you spoke a little bit about today. I was kind of happy to hear more about that. And, I think that bring a great eye to some of the challenges that Israel is currently facing with its community as a whole. Like it's a very diverse melting pot. And, even you said your background was from Morocco and your family from Morocco. And again, too, over the years, there's been a lot of, conversation about equality and people being treated with value, in terms of contributing, full wholehearted and being a true Israeli, so I think that those themes keep coming up and they come up in all cultures. Listen, it's the United States, same thing. So, these are
Correct.
important
Correct.
questions. These are important issues to face and to talk about as a community and to come together around as a community. So, it's really just the icing, it's just the tip of the iceberg here. There's so much more richness, and we're going to look to you, Levy, for future work because it really is so meaningful. And I know that you're really vested in bringing to the public important issues, your docu-activism type films. And, this is what it's about. And I'm so thrilled to have had this particular film and you a part of our festival because we really, love these kinds of conversations, which really, as I said, can go on forever. There's so much more. So thank you both, really. Carin, it's a pleasure working with you. I look
Thank
forward
you.
to our opportunities in the future to work together. And I just want to also thank our audience for joining us today. There was some difficulty, I must say, with the link. And so we will be sending out this video to those that could not join us or had some struggles. It's such a valuable conversation to share. But thank you all really for clearing your schedule from Tel Aviv, coming to us, and Carin, for you as well, and our audience. Also wanted to let folks know that in case you know of anyone who would like to see this film, it is still available. They can register on our website, stanfordjcc.org, until midnight tonight. We have some other fantastic festival films coming up. I hope you join us for those as well. The JCC Center for Arts and Culture has many different offerings throughout the year, not just film, but our book and author conversations, our Manger Gallery at the J with our wine and art receptions, our book and film clubs, our classes, volunteer opportunities. It goes on and on and on. I do want to mention, if you're available, join us tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. at the JCC. We are hosting Ira Rosen, the producer of 60 Minutes, that iconic television news program that I grew up with. And Ira is going to be talking about his book, The Ticking Clock. It's kind of that iconic noise I hear in my head. So please join us for that. You can register also at our website, stanfordjcc.org. And please again join us for upcoming festival films. And once again, Levy and Carin, thank you so much. Enjoy, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Carin. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Levy.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.